The memory of places after we're gone. The idea of the memory of places after we're gone invites you to imagine that places themselves, rooms, homes, parks, streets, carry echoes of the people who inhabited them. Not literally, perhaps, but emotionally, atmospherically, psychologically. Think of a place that was once full of life, a childhood bedroom, a relative's kitchen, an old classroom, or a favorite cafe. When we return to such places after many years, even if they are empty, we still feel something. It's as though the air remembers, the walls remember, the silence remembers. When you live in a place, you imprint onto it unconsciously, your routines, your laughter, your sorrows, your quiet thoughts. All of these settle into the atmosphere like invisible sediment. A couch where someone used to sit still feels like their spot. A hallway remembers footsteps. A door frame remembers hands that pushed it open. The scent, the acoustics, the quality of light, these become part of the character of that space. When you later leave that place, the physical structure remains, but the emotional imprint stays behind like a shadow memory. This can be felt strongly in abandoned or old locations. An empty house still carries the memory of families that ate at the table and argued in the living room. A deserted train station still holds the momentum of countless journeys. A shuttered school still contains the echoes of laughter, anxiety, aspirations. Places are witnesses, they keep quiet company with time. But the memory of a place is not objective, it is activated by perception. A stranger entering your childhood home would feel nothing unusual. But when you enter, your mind supplies the missing presence. You overlay past experience onto present reality. You see ghosts, not supernatural ones, but psychological ones. The ghost of who you once were, the ghost of a beloved person now gone, the ghost of what life used to feel like. This means that places do not truly remember us. We remember ourselves through places. Still, even without human memory, places change through human presence. A path becomes worn from footsteps. A windowsill becomes smooth from repeated touch. A chair becomes shaped by the weight of bodies. Time and use physically alter space. These traces are subtle but real. Then there's the opposite. The memory of places we never return to. The apartment you lived in 5 years ago, the people there now have no idea who you are. They walk where you walked, breathe where you breathed, dream where you dreamed. You are no longer part of the place, but somewhere in your mind, that place still exists exactly as it was when you left, frozen in a sealed memory. In that internal version, the furniture hasn't been moved. The walls haven't been repainted. The light falls the same way through the window. It is timeless in your mind. This leads to a gentle sadness, the realization that life continues in places after we're gone and that we continue away from places that no longer remember us. The world goes on without us, not cruelly but neutrally. A city forgets your footsteps, a cafe forgets your voice, a neighborhood forgets your presence, and yet you carry memories of those places that may last your whole life. Places become chapters in your story. Some chapters you revisit, others you never see again. But the emotional imprint remains, especially for places tied to formative moments. First loves, family gatherings, difficult times, transformations. Those places become internalized, living inside your memory as vividly as any person. There is also beauty in knowing that you yourself become part of the memory of places for others. Someone may remember you sitting on a certain bench, or always passing a certain street corner, or appearing in a certain doorway. You become part of their mental archive of that space. When they revisit, they may think, "This is where I used to see them." In this way, memory becomes communal, woven between people and places. Ultimately, places do not truly have memory. What they hold is traces of human presence. and what we carry is emotional memory built from environment. The remembrance is human, but the anchor is geographic. When we are gone, the places remain, but changed. The wind still moves through them, the paint fades, the cracks widen. Time continues to erase and rewrite, and yet within the human mind, those places may remain untouched. Perhaps the real truth is this: places don't remember us. We remember ourselves through the places that shaped us. And long after we leave, parts of us still live there in memory. Consciousness looking back at itself. The idea of consciousness looking back at itself explores a moment of self-awareness so deep that the observer and the observed become the same. Normally, you experience yourself as a subject moving through life, thinking thoughts, feeling emotions, reacting to events, forming opinions, but occasionally there comes a moment when you step outside of that flow and something in you watches yourself being you. It's as if consciousness turns its attention inward and recognizes itself. Imagine a thought appearing in your mind. Usually you identify with it. I am thinking this. But in a moment of awareness, you might notice a thought is happening, and I am witnessing it. There is a shift then, from being inside the thought to being the awareness of the thought. The thinking self becomes separate from the observing self. This is consciousness reflecting upon its own existence. This phenomenon raises the question, who is the I that notices the thoughts? If you were only your mind, you could not step outside of it to observe it. If you were only your emotions, you could not witness them as sensations passing through. There is something behind all of that, a deeper awareness that silently observes. This awareness does not have preferences or judgment. It is not anxious or angry or hopeful. Those feelings happen within you, but awareness simply sees. It is like a still lake reflecting passing clouds. The clouds are thoughts and feelings. The lake is consciousness. When consciousness looks back at itself, there is a strange recognition. I am not the story of my life. I am the awareness reading the story. The dramas of identity, ambitions, fears, regrets, memories are suddenly seen as part of mental and emotional narratives. You are not the character. You are the reader, not the actor, but the witness. There are moments in life where this awareness becomes undeniable, when you meditate or experience deep presence, or feel awe in nature, or have a sudden realization of being. There can be a moment where you are simply aware of being aware. This self-reflection is not thinking about yourself as an object. It is deeper, an awareness that realizes it is aware. Some spiritual traditions call this the true self, the inner self, pure consciousness, presence, or soul. Others interpret it as a cognitive phenomenon, the brain's capacity to model its own activity. In either interpretation, the experience is profound. The observer sees itself as the observer. Consciousness looking back at itself also reveals the illusion of separateness. Normally, you feel like an individual consciousness inside your own head, separate from others, but the awareness that sees thoughts might also notice that awareness itself feels universal. The same quality of observing presence exists in every person. The surface identities differ, names, personalities, histories, but the inner witness feels strangely shared. It is like many windows in a building. Each window shows a different view, but the light behind them is the same. When consciousness looks back at itself, the boundaries between inner and outer soften. You might feel connected to others in a way that transcends rational explanation. This self-awareness also changes your relationship with experience. If you are the witness, then pain is something you experience, not something you are. Fear passes through awareness like a wave. Thoughts come and go. Even identity shifts and evolves, but the witnessing presence remains. In this way, consciousness becomes curious about itself. It wants to understand, what am I? Not who, but what. A name, a body, a personality. These are surface answers. But beneath them is something formless, open, spacious. Perhaps consciousness looking back at itself is the universe becoming aware of itself through human form. Perhaps your awareness is a tiny expression of a vast field of consciousness in which everything arises. Perhaps existence itself is consciousness exploring its own nature, like a dream waking up to recognize the dreamer. Whatever the explanation, this experience invites a kind of peace. You no longer feel confined to your thoughts or trapped in your emotions. You recognize that behind everything that changes within you, there is something that remains. Still, quiet, aware. The moment you realize you're alive, is not the moment of birth, or even the first memories of childhood. It is a deeper awakening. A sudden, almost shocking recognition that you are a conscious being experiencing existence. This realization doesn't happen in words. It happens as a raw awareness. You might be sitting alone or walking outside or staring at the ceiling before sleep, when suddenly a strange clarity washes over you. I exist, not as an idea, not as a role, not as a name, but as a living awareness housed inside a body. In that instant, life stops feeling automatic. The rhythm of existence, breathing, thinking, reacting, reveals itself as something extraordinary. You become aware that you are inside an experience, not just flowing through it mechanically. The mind steps back from its usual chatter and something more fundamental takes the stage: presence. Often this realization is brief, like a flash. You may look at your hand and think, this moves when I will it. You look at your reflection and think, that body is housing me. You hear your own thoughts and think, these are arising inside consciousness. This moment is a kind of self-recognition, a consciousness catching itself in the act of being conscious. Such moments often arise in quietness. When stimulation drops and noise fades, you meet yourself in awareness. But sometimes it comes in surprising contexts. In crisis, when something shatters routine. A brush with danger, a major turning point, a birth, a death, a breakup. In these moments, life's fragility becomes visible. You suddenly understand that you have only one consciousness, one unfolding lifetime, one thread of experience. And you feel the immediacy of existence, the fact that you are here, breathing, witnessing. This realization can bring both awe and vulnerability. Awe, because the miracle of simply being becomes undeniable. Vulnerability, because you understand that existence is temporary, delicate, irreplaceable. You realize that you were alive long before you knew you were alive. You walked, spoke, acted, reacted, without recognizing the astonishing fact of being a conscious being embedded in reality. There is also an emotional dimension. The moment you realize you're alive is often the moment you realize you will someday die, not as a concept, but as a visceral truth. Awareness of life and awareness of mortality are twins. When you awaken to one, you awaken to the other. The recognition of aliveness makes everything matter more and less. The trivial concerns drop away. The essential rises. You want to live meaningfully or deeply or honestly because you know this awareness is a precious flicker in time. Another aspect is separateness. You realize that you are you and no one else. No one will ever have your exact perspective. No one will ever think with your mind, feel with your body, dream with your imagination. You occupy a unique coordinate in consciousness. You are both connected to humanity and isolated within your own subjective world. But paradoxically, this moment can also create a sense of connection. You recognize that every person around you is also a consciousness, a living awareness inside a body, asking the same silent questions. What am I? Why am I here? What is this experience of being? The realization becomes universal. Every being is a unique instance of awareness awakening within existence. Awakening to being alive also shifts perception. Ordinary things become extraordinary. Light on a wall, wind on the skin, sounds of traffic, laughter in a room. These take on a vividness. Experience feels real in a new way. You are not just in life, you are aware of being in it. This is the difference between existing unconsciously and existing consciously. Some people spend their whole lives in motion, chasing goals, fulfilling roles, repeating patterns, without ever truly waking up to existence. Others have a moment of awakening and then slip back into automatic living. But for some, the realization deepens over time. They live with an ongoing awareness that transforms how they engage with life. They become more intentional, more present, less reactive, more humble. Perhaps the moment you realize you're alive is the moment life stops being something that happens to you and becomes something you participate in with awareness. You become both actor and observer, both experiencer and witness, both self and soul. And maybe the deepest layer of this realization is recognizing that you are consciousness, not just a body moving through the world, but the awareness that sees, hears, feels, thinks. The realization that you're alive is not just awareness of existence, it is existence becoming aware of itself, the universe within you. The idea that within you exists an entire universe is both poetic and surprisingly accurate when you consider how deeply your inner world shapes your experience of life. Everything you perceive, every emotion, memory, sensation, and belief arises from your inner space. Two people can look at the same sunset. One sees beauty, the other sees sadness. The difference is not in the sunset. The difference is in the universe within them. Inside you is an entire realm made of thoughts, hopes, fears, desires, and perceptions. You may not see it physically, but you live inside it every day. Think of your mind as a vast night sky. Each thought is like a star. Each memory is a constellation. Each belief is a gravitational force shaping how other thoughts move around it. Some memories shine brightly, some are dim, some are heavy, pulling everything toward them. Others are light and fragile, almost transparent. When you feel misunderstood, it is often because someone cannot see the invisible landscape inside you. They see your actions, your words, your face, but not the inner galaxy shaping those things. Likewise, you cannot fully see the internal universes of others. This is why compassion matters. This is why judgment fails. Every person is a complex, layered, unseen cosmos. Inside you also lives potential, unrealized, vast, and growing. The nature of a universe is expansion. Stars form where there was emptiness, thoughts form where there was silence. Ideas erupt like cosmic events. The brain itself has neurons branching like cosmic webs, echoing the structure of galaxies. The outer universe and your internal one mirror each other, not metaphorically, but structurally. Your inner universe is also where meaning is invented. The world itself is neutral. A tree is just a tree. A word is just a word. A gesture is just a gesture. But internally, you convert these into significance. A tree may symbolize childhood. A word may trigger old wounds. A gesture may feel like love or threat. You are constantly translating reality, using your inner experience as the dictionary. This internal universe is also mysterious because much of it lies beyond conscious awareness. Just as telescopes reveal galaxies we never knew existed, introspection reveals emotions and motives we didn't realize we had. meditation, journaling, therapy, self-awareness. These are tools for mapping your inner sky. Without them, you become like a traveler in the dark, reacting to internal forces you never see. People sometimes fear their inner world because it contains shadows, unresolved pain, regret, trauma, insecurity. But even shadows exist because of light. The parts of you that hurt often protect the parts of you that care. The parts of you that fear often shield the parts of you that love. The darker regions of your inner universe are not failures or flaws. They are simply areas where the light has not yet reached. And just as stars are born from collapsing cosmic dust, growth often comes from collapse. When something inside you breaks, a belief, an identity, a certainty, new understanding emerges. You rebuild from fragments. You reorganize your inner cosmos. This is how wisdom forms. When you are young, your inner universe is small, reactive, unstructured, mostly emotion and instinct. But as you grow, you add new galaxies, perspectives, complexities, contradictions, depths. Your sense of self becomes layered. You realize that you are not just one voice inside, but many. The child you were, the adult you became, the person you hope to be. Ultimately, the universe within you is not a container, but a living process. It expands as you experience more of life. It becomes richer as you suffer, as you learn, as you love, as you heal. And just as the outer cosmos is infinite, so too is the inner one. You will never reach the end of self-understanding, and that is beautiful because it means there will always be more to discover within. The sound of a falling tree. The question of whether a falling tree makes a sound when no one is there to hear it is more than a curiosity. It is a doorway into understanding perception, existence, and the relationship between reality and consciousness. On the surface, it seems like a simple question about physics. But in truth, it's a deep examination of how much of reality exists independently and how much of it is created through observation. Consider what sound really is. In physical terms, a falling tree creates vibrations in the air, waves of pressure moving outward. But those vibrations only become sound when they reach an ear and are interpreted by a brain. Without a listener, human, animal, or instrument, the vibrations simply remain vibrations. Sound, as we know it, is partly physical and partly psychological. This concept shifts our understanding of reality. It suggests that what you perceive is not the entire universe, only the part of it that your senses can interpret. There are colors you cannot see, frequencies you cannot hear, forces and dimensions the human brain cannot grasp. Your perception is like a small window. The universe is everything outside of it. This leads to an important thought. Things do not only exist in the way you understand them. A tree falls whether or not someone hears it. A star explodes in a distant galaxy whether or not a telescope observes it. A person feels emotion even if they never express it. Reality is not dependent on witness, but experience is. This paradox also extends into human relationships and inner life. If a person suffers in silence, does the suffering exist for others? If someone loves you but never speaks it, is the love real? If a memory lives only in your mind, does it matter? We often behave as though something becomes real only when acknowledged. We think, if no one sees, it doesn't count. But that is not true. A private feeling is still a reality. A silent struggle is still a struggle. A quiet achievement is still an achievement. The falling tree reminds us that unseen events carry weight and meaning independent of observers. There's another layer. The question can also be interpreted existentially. Imagine a life where everything you do is for external validation, applause, attention, recognition. But what if the truest version of life is what happens when no one is watching? The moments of honesty, the times when you think deeply, the quiet decisions you make inside yourself, the inner life that no one else witnesses. Perhaps the most authentic existence is the one unseen. The tree also represents the passage of time. Many events in history occurred without record. Cultures rose and vanished. People lived and died, and no one wrote their names down. But these lives were still real. Their joys, pains, and dreams still existed. The universe does not require an audience. It simply is. The paradox also challenges the arrogance of human perception. We often assume if I don't see it, it doesn't exist. But a fish in the deep ocean, never seen by human eyes, still swims. A bird in a distant forest still sings. A thought you never speak still echoes in your mind. Now think of your own internal world, your silent realizations, unspoken opinions, your private grief, your quiet wonder. These inner events shape you profoundly, even if no one else witnesses them. The falling tree symbolizes that there is value in things that exist without performance, without validation, without observation. It invites you to respect the unseen, both in the world and in yourself. And finally, there is humility in this thought. The human mind is not the center of reality. The universe does not depend on human senses to exist. You are part of a vast unfolding, not the observer of all things, but a participant in some of them. There are realities beyond your perception. There are truths beyond your understanding. There are phenomena beyond your senses. The falling tree reminds us that existence is larger than awareness, and the universe continues endlessly even in silence. The brain naming itself. The idea of the brain naming itself is a deeply fascinating loop of self-awareness. It begins with the strange truth that the brain, using its own neural activity, created the word brain. It not only names external objects like trees, animals, and stars, but also the very organ doing the naming. Imagine a flashlight illuminating every object in a room, then slowly turning the beam onto itself. That is what self-awareness is, consciousness looking back at the machinery of consciousness. This is more than clever biology, it is a philosophical mystery. The brain is a physical structure made of cells and electricity, but it produces something non-physical: thoughts, identity, imagination, language. At some point in evolution, the brain gained the ability not only to react to reality, but to reflect on itself. You are essentially a cluster of atoms thinking about atoms. Your neurons fire in patterns that create internal experiences, sensations, beliefs, memories. Then those patterns become abstract concepts. Then the concepts become symbols. Then the symbols become words, and eventually the brain uses words to look at itself and say, "This is me. I am the brain." This self-referential loop is not trivial. It is miraculous. No other known object in the universe studies itself in this way. A stone does not ask what it is made of. A star does not wonder how it burns, but a human does. A human brain dissects, questions, analyses, classifies, philosophizes. It is matter becoming aware of matter. This leads to a deeper problem. Who is doing the thinking? Is it the brain alone, or is there a self that feels separate from it? Most people experience themselves as something inside the brain, a center of awareness behind the eyes. But neuroscience suggests there is no such localized self. The self is not a little person sitting inside your head. It is an emergent process, a symphony of neural interactions. Yet you feel like you are more than those cells. When you say "I," you don't feel like you're referring to a physical organ. You feel like you're referring to a soul, or a consciousness, or an essence. So here arises the paradox. The brain builds the idea of the self, and the self then thinks it is separate from the brain. It is like writing a story and then believing the characters in it exist independently. The sense of I is one of the brain's greatest inventions, and it might also be its greatest illusion. But this illusion has purpose. It allows you to navigate identity, create intention, take responsibility, form memories, make choices. Without a sense of self, life would be a chaotic stream of sensations with no continuity. Another astonishing aspect is that the brain studies itself scientifically. It invents tools like EEGs, MRIAS, neuroscience, essentially using itself to observe itself. A brain in a lab looks at images of another brain and interprets them, all with circuitry evolved from survival instincts. Primitive humans needed to find water, avoid predators, and hunt food, not unravel consciousness. But the same brain that learned to throw a spear eventually learned to ask, what am I? Why do I think? How does awareness work? Where does thought originate? Even more deeply, the act of naming creates reality. Before humans had a concept of brain, there was only a silent organ working in the dark. Once it was named, it stepped into conceptual existence. Language makes the invisible visible. We label, and through labeling we understand. But every label is also a simplification. The brain may name itself, but it cannot fully grasp itself, like a hand trying to touch itself directly. Like a blade trying to cut itself. Like an eye trying to see itself without a mirror. There are limits to introspection. And there is one more quiet revelation. The brain did not choose to exist. It did not choose its shape, its functioning, or its evolution. Yet now it wonders about purpose, meaning, and existence. It is a self-questioning entity, conscious matter contemplating itself. Perhaps the brain naming itself is the universe naming itself through you. Perhaps consciousness is not owned by the brain, but expressed through it. In that sense, you are not just a brain thinking. You are existence becoming aware. Déjà vu and parallel realities. The experience of déjà vu, that eerie feeling that a moment is repeating, that you've lived this exact situation before, is something almost every human has felt. You're standing somewhere, someone speaks, something moves, and suddenly a wave of familiarity hits your senses. You know what will be said next, you know what will happen next, but you don't know how you know it. This creates a strange sensation of slipping outside of time, as though your consciousness is stepping briefly into a memory from another layer of existence. Science usually explains déjà vu as a neurological hiccup, the brain accidentally storing a perception as a memory at the exact moment it occurs, causing the present to feel like the past. But human intuition often feels something deeper is happening. There's a sensation of recognition, not just of sights or sounds, but of an entire scene. The emotional tone, the atmosphere, the internal state. It feels like more than a glitch. It feels like touching another version of yourself. This leads into the concept of parallel realities. The idea that there may be countless versions of reality branching off from every decision, every possibility, every path not taken. In another version of existence, maybe you walked through this doorway before. Maybe you already had this conversation. Maybe you already felt this exact emotion. And déjà vu is a small window, a glitch in the separation between timelines. Imagine reality as a book with infinite pages. You live on one page, but sometimes for a moment your consciousness brushes against another page, one nearly identical in structure, and you feel a shimmer of recognition. The boundaries between what happened and what could have happened blur. People often report that déjà vu feels strongest in emotionally or spiritually meaningful moments. It rarely happens while you brush your teeth or stand in line at the grocery store. It happens during intense interactions, A conversation, a new environment, a life event. As if significance is the trigger for overlap, there is also the possibility that déjà vu is related to the ways memory and intuition operate. The mind is constantly predicting and mapping future events based on experience. Perhaps déjà vu occurs when your brain's prediction aligns perfectly with actual reality, leading to the feeling that the moment was expected or already lived. There is another view, more mystical, which suggests that déjà vu is a sign of alignment, a nudge from the universe that you are on the correct path or in sync with something deeper. In those moments, reality feels scripted, almost rhythmic, as though life is unfolding according to an unseen design. Some philosophers propose that consciousness is not confined strictly to the present timeline. Instead, it may be like a radio capable of tuning into multiple frequencies. Most of the time, we stay tuned to one station, the life we are living now. But déjà vu may be a moment of cross-signal, where we briefly receive input from another version of events. It is like looking through a crack in a doorway that normally remains sealed. What makes déjà vu especially fascinating is that it cannot be summoned or predicted. It arrives unannounced and disappears quickly. You cannot hold on to it. You cannot dissect it while it happens. The moment you try to analyze it, it fades. It slips away like a dream upon waking. This elusive nature gives it a dreamlike quality, a sense that it exists slightly outside rational comprehension. Regardless of whether the cause is neurological, dimensional, or metaphysical, déjà vu carries a universal emotional effect. It reminds you that reality is not as solid, singular, or straightforward as it seems. It suggests that there are layers of experience beneath conscious awareness. It hints that time is not purely linear, but may fold, ripple, or echo. And it implies that the self, the you experiencing life, might be larger than one life, one timeline, or one memory stream. Ultimately, déjà vu sits at the border between science and mystery. It invites humility. It invites curiosity. It reminds us that the human experience touches realms we cannot fully explain. And in those moments of recognition, something whispers, "You have been here before." Whether that is memory, intuition, or soul, no one knows for sure, but the sensation remains deeply real and deeply human. Reality, illusion, or truth? The question of whether reality is an illusion or a truth is one that has existed for centuries, across cultures, philosophies, religions, and scientific worlds. On the surface, reality feels straightforward. There is a physical world, and we live in it. We see objects, hear sounds, touch surfaces, and interact with people. But when you look deeper, you discover that what you call reality is processed entirely through your brain. You never actually experience the world directly. You experience a neurological interpretation of it. Your eyes don't see color. They see wavelengths of light, and your brain assigns meaning to those wavelengths in the form of color. Your ears don't hear sound. They detect vibrations, and your brain converts them into tones. Your skin doesn't feel objects. It experiences electrical signals interpreted as texture or temperature. So the world you think you know, the world of sights, sounds, sensations, is actually constructed inside your mind. And this opens the question: how much of what you call reality is genuinely external truth, and how much is internal interpretation? Now consider how perception changes from person to person. Two people can witness the same event and remember it differently. Two people can describe the same person differently. One sees kindness, another sees arrogance. Two people can hear the same comment, one feels praise, another feels insult. If reality were purely objective, this would not happen. The emotional and cognitive filters each person carries act like lenses coloring what they perceive. In this sense, reality is partially subjective, shaped by beliefs, memories, biases, fears, hopes, and assumptions. There is also the idea that language shapes reality. You name things: success, failure, friend, enemy, normal, strange and possible and impossible. These labels frame how you interpret the world. A challenge called failure becomes discouragement. The same challenge called lesson becomes growth. The external event might be the same, but the internal meaning changes the experience completely. Now consider the possibility that reality has layers. At one layer, there is the physical universe: atoms, forces, particles. At another layer, there is the experienced reality: emotion, meaning, narrative. At yet another layer, there is the psychological or spiritual reality: purpose, perception of fate, intuition, consciousness. You do not live only in the physical world. You live in the world of meaning you create. For many people, emotional or conceptual reality is more powerful than the material one. There is also the theory that consciousness itself is fundamental, that reality emerges from awareness, not the other way around. This view suggests that the universe is not a dead, accidental mechanism, but something intertwined with consciousness, and that existence is experienced through perception. The wave-particle paradox of quantum physics even suggests that observation affects reality at the smallest scale, that particles behave differently when they are measured. This implies that observer and reality are not separate, but interconnected. So is reality an illusion? In one sense, yes, because what you experience is filtered, interpreted, and constructed by your mind. But saying reality is an illusion can also be misleading, because it implies nothing is true. A better understanding might be that reality is a co-creation between the external world and your internal perception. What's out there exists, but what it means is shaped by what's in you. Think of existence as a canvas. The external world is the canvas and outline. Your perception is the color and shading. One person paints with fear, another with curiosity, another with wonder. One person sees obstacles everywhere, another sees opportunities. The canvas is shared, but the painting is personal. Perhaps the deepest truth is this: reality is both illusion and truth at the same time. The physical world is real, but the way you experience it is subjective. Your senses are limited. Your interpretations are selective. Your awareness is partial. You live not simply in the world, but in your version of it. This realization can be freeing. It means you are not trapped by a fixed external reality. You can shift your perception, expand awareness, question assumptions, and reshape meaning. You can awaken to deeper layers of experience. And as your inner world changes, the outer world seems to change with it. Not because reality altered, but because you did. Would you change the past? The question of whether you would change the past is one of the most human reflections. It touches on regret, longing, pain, hope, and the desire for control over what has already happened. When you look back on your life, there are moments that feel heavy. Mistakes, failures, losses, misunderstandings, choices made too quickly or choices never made at all. You might imagine reaching back and editing those chapters, switching out a word, a gesture, or a decision. The imagination makes it feel possible, but reality holds the past in place, unchanged and unchangeable. Perhaps you think of a moment where you hurt someone or someone hurt you. Perhaps you imagine saving yourself from embarrassment or grief or heartbreak. Maybe you wish you had taken an opportunity you ignored or avoided a path that led to suffering. But the deeper question beneath the question is, would changing the past actually improve who you are today? You are shaped by every experience you've lived, even the painful ones. Every mistake taught a lesson. Every loss carved room for compassion. Every wrong turn redirected your path, even if you didn't see it at the time. If you change the past, you might remove the pain, but you might also erase the growth. You might lose the wisdom gained through difficulty. Many people develop resilience, empathy, patience, strength, and depth precisely because life was not simple or perfect. Imagine a version of yourself who never failed. That self might also never develop humility. Imagine a version of yourself who never faced loss. That self might never learn the value of connection. The past, with all its imperfections, has been your teacher. There is also the paradox of causality. Small changes could ripple forward in unpredictable ways. A missed conversation, a delayed meeting, a different choice may alter the entire timeline of your life. The people you know today, the events that unfolded, the personality you evolved, might all be different. Even the hardships you wish never happened may have led indirectly to moments of joy or meaningful turning points. Life is not a straight line of isolated events. It is a network of interdependent causes shaping who you become. Another layer of this question explores acceptance. When you reflect on the past with pain or regret, you often imagine a version of yourself who should have known better. But in truth, you made decisions with the knowledge and emotional capacity you had at the time. The person you were then did the best they could. Wisdom comes later, and it is unfair to judge the past self with the awareness of the present self. Acceptance is not approval. It is understanding. It is saying, I may not like what happened, but I can let go of fighting it. There is also the perspective that life unfolds with a kind of internal logic, that experiences arrive when they are necessary for development. You might not have liked certain lessons, but you may still have needed them. Perhaps the question is not, would you change the past, but rather, can you integrate the past? Can you look back with compassion instead of criticism? Can you find meaning in hardship instead of only pain? Can you honor the version of you that survived? Some people would still say, yes, I would change something, especially if the past includes trauma, injustice, or cruelty that left lasting scars. And that feeling is valid. Yet even when the past wounds cannot be healed by revision, they can be healed by how you move forward. You may not change the event, but you can change the impact it has on your life. You can transform the story. You can reclaim power over what once hurt you. Ultimately, the question reveals something profound about human consciousness. The ability to imagine alternate versions of our lives. This can bring regret, but it can also bring gratitude. For in seeing what might have been, you become clearer about what is. Maybe the past is not meant to be rewritten. Maybe it is meant to be understood, accepted, and transcended. You are not the person who lived those older moments. You have grown beyond them, and in that growth lies the quiet answer. The past shaped you, but it does not imprison you. Looking into the past. Looking into the past is one of the most natural things humans do. Memory is not just a mental function. It is a form of time travel. You can close your eyes and instantly be inside a moment that no longer exists. You can feel the temperature of a day long gone, remember the tone of a voice, recall the smell of a room, or relive a feeling as if it is happening again. The past becomes something you carry inside you, not as a static record, but as a living presence that shapes how you see the world. Yet memory is not a perfect camera. It is a storyteller. It changes, edits, exaggerates, softens, distorts. Sometimes you remember something more beautifully than it truly was. Sometimes you remember something much more painfully than it actually happened. The stories you tell yourself about your past influence your identity in the present. You might hold on to a moment of embarrassment and believe it defined you. You might cling to a memory of failure and believe it limits you. But you might also cherish a memory of love and believe it sustains you. The past becomes either a chain or a foundation, depending on how you interpret it. Looking into the past often arises from longing, a desire to re-experience something meaningful. This might be the warmth of childhood innocence, or the simplicity of a time before responsibility, or the closeness of a relationship that has since faded. Memory allows us to revisit those emotional places, even if only for a moment, but longing for the past can also become a trap. If you believe that your best moments are behind you, you may unconsciously shrink your future, expecting less from life. On the other side, some look into the past not with longing, but with pain. They return again and again to memories of hurt, betrayal, rejection, or failure. They question what they should have done differently. They relive moments of shame or regret. They punish themselves with hindsight, forgetting that the person they were at the time could not see the future the way they do now. Looking into the past through the lens of self-blame freezes emotional energy. Acceptance gently releases it. There is also a philosophical question. When you look into the past, are you seeing the past itself? Or just your memory of it? Your subjective reconstruction? Many people look back and say, that was who I was. But perhaps the deeper truth is, that was who I believed I was. Identity changes, perspective changes, wisdom grows. Looking into the past with today's awareness often reveals new meanings. You may finally understand why something happened, or what it taught you, or how it changed you. At times, looking back helps you see patterns, how you have grown, how you have repeated certain cycles, how choices formed consequences, how relationships shaped your character. In this way, the past becomes a teacher. It offers clarity. It offers context. It offers continuity. And yet, the past is not meant to be lived in. It's meant to be integrated. One of the most powerful shifts happens when you look into the past with compassion instead of judgment. When you see your younger self through the lens of kindness instead of criticism. When you acknowledge their fears, naivety, or impulsiveness with understanding rather than blame. You realize that you were learning, evolving, doing the best you could with the awareness you had. Looking into the past also brings gratitude for people who helped you, for moments of joy, for chances you took, for survival through hardship. It can transform trauma into strength, sorrow into wisdom, memories into meaning. But it requires a gentle viewpoint, not gripping the past tightly, but allowing it to sit beside you like an old companion. Perhaps the most balanced way to look into the past is like looking into a mirror that shows an earlier version of you. Not someone you must return to, but someone you once were. You can acknowledge them, you can honor them, but you do not have to become them again. You can appreciate the past without being trapped by it. The past is real, but it is not alive. You are alive. You are here now, breathing in the present moment. And every moment you live now becomes tomorrow's memory. You are continuously writing the story you will one day look back upon. So look into the past with softness and then gently turn forward again, toward the pages that are still blank. Who are you without memory? The question of who you are without memory strikes at the core of identity. Most people instinctively define themselves through the story of their past. You remember your childhood, your friendships, your mistakes, your victories, your heartbreaks, your habits, your personality traits. And all of these memories form what you call me. But what if all of that were removed? If every memory, every detail of your biography, every name, every association, every learned fear, every learned confidence disappeared? Who remains? Without memory, the first thing that disappears is continuity. You no longer experience yourself as a character moving through time. You become something entirely present, living moment to moment without reference to before. This leads to a profound realization. Memory is what gives shape to identity, but consciousness exists even without it. The awareness that perceives, that simply is, remains. If you lost all memories, you would not remember who you were, but you would still be. You would still see, feel, sense, and exist. The I beneath identity would remain intact. This suggests that memory is like clothing and identity, temporary, changeable, removable, while consciousness is the body beneath it. But memory does more than store facts. It is also emotional memory. How you feel about certain people, how you react to certain situations, whether you trust or fear the world. Without memory, emotional conditioning falls away. You cease to flinch at past traumas. You cease to anticipate through previous patterns. You meet every moment freshly, without projection. You see a person not through the lens of history, but as they are in that instant. There is beauty in that kind of existence. It is a state some spiritual traditions try to cultivate. The experience of pure presence, unclouded by mental residue. Without memory, there is no regret, no nostalgia, no resentment, no internal commentary about what this reminds you of. You are not the sum of prior experiences. You become pure awareness. But there is also loss. Without memory, you lose connection to loved ones, to achievements, to lessons learned through suffering. You cannot shape a narrative. You cannot define personal meaning. You live in a perpetual present, but without roots. If memory forms identity, does that mean identity is nothing more than an accumulated story? In many ways, yes, you are not simply living a life. You are constantly remembering your life in order to understand who you are. You hold on to certain events as defining moments. You repeat certain internal scripts. I'm good at this. I'm bad at that. I'm lovable. I'm unworthy. I'm strong. I'm weak. These are all memories distilled into identity. Beliefs crystallized from experience. Without memory, there is no fixed personality. You cannot be shy or confident if you do not remember that you are. You cannot be bitter or optimistic if you do not remember why. You cannot even fear death, because fear of death is based on memory of life. Imagine the freedom of that, a mind that does not cling to anything. Yet also imagine the emptiness, a self with no story. This also touches on empathy. If you had no memory, would you still care about others? Compassion may arise from two sources, one from memory, I know what suffering feels like, and one from innate awareness, I can feel your state through presence. Without memory, empathy might become more immediate and direct, without being filtered through personal history. There is a larger, more mysterious question. Is the deepest self memory or awareness? If identity depends on memory, then identity is fragile and can vanish with injury, disease, or age. But if awareness is the true core, then you are more than memory. You are the witness, the silent observer behind all experiences, the presence that sees memory come and go. Maybe the better question is not, who are you without memory? But who are you beneath memory, beneath history, beneath narrative, beneath conditioning? There is a self that is deeper than biography, a self that exists in the raw presence of this moment. When memories fall away, you are not zero. You are something else, a pure experiencing consciousness, a being without a backstory, and perhaps in that state you are closer to your true essence than at any other time, because you exist without labels, without character, without the weight of yesterday. You are not a storyline. You are simply existence experiencing itself. Are we dreaming now? The question, are we dreaming now, may sound poetic or philosophical, but it points towards something deeply profound about consciousness, perception, and the nature of experience. When you dream at night, the dream feels completely real while you're inside it. You see people, places, objects. You feel emotions, fear, joy, longing, excitement. You move through situations as if they are solid and true. Only when you awaken do you realize none of that material was physically real. And then a strange thought arises. What if waking life is similar? Just another level of dream. Consider how your brain constructs your experience. Right now, everything you're perceiving, this room, these words, your thoughts, is happening inside your mind. You never directly experience the external world. You only experience the brain's simulation of sensory input. In a dream, your brain creates a world from memory, imagination, and subconscious emotion. In waking life, it creates a world from sensory information. But in both cases, the experience happens internally. So the difference between dream and waking life may be thinner than we assume. When you pinch yourself to see whether you're dreaming, what are you really doing? You're looking for consistency, because dreams tend to shift unpredictably. But even waking life sometimes feels surreal or symbolic. You've probably had moments where everything seems too coincidental, too meaningful, too cinematic, as though life itself is staged by some deeper storyteller. Perhaps these are moments where the boundaries between levels of consciousness become softer. Another perspective comes from certain spiritual and philosophical traditions. Some thinkers propose that waking life is a shared dream, a collective experience of consciousness taking human form. In this view, your life is not less real than a dream, but not more real either. It is simply another layer of experience. The great mystic Rumi wrote that we are asleep, and only when we die do we truly awaken. Others have said that enlightenment is like waking up from the dream of individuality, realizing you are part of a larger consciousness. Science provides another angle. Neuroscience cannot distinguish subjective experience in dreams from subjective experience in waking life. At the level of neural activity, the patterns are strikingly similar. The brain lights up in many of the same regions. The emotional centers activate. The visual cortex simulates environments. If a machine scanned your brain while dreaming and while awake, it might not immediately know which state you were in. The difference is not in the brain's activity, but in the source of the information, external versus internal. There is also the idea of lucid dreaming, becoming aware that you are dreaming while still inside the dream. People who experience this describe a sensation of empowerment and clarity. Now imagine if something similar could happen in waking life, a moment where you suddenly become hyper-aware, deeply present, and detached from the usual automatic flow of thoughts. Some call this mindfulness, some call it awakening, some call it stepping out of the dream of unconscious living. You might also reflect on how memory and reality interact. Dreams are often forgotten, yet some feel more vivid than real life. Conversely, some waking memories fade as though they were dreams. This suggests that what matters is not the external nature of the experience, but the felt realism of it. Your inner experience is the anchor of your reality. So, are we dreaming right now? The answer may be layered. On one level, waking life is different, governed by physical laws, continuity, shared perception, and collective agreement. On another level, waking life is a dream of identity, a story you are living inside, shaped by beliefs, assumptions, and personal narrative. You go through life both as an actor and as an observer, sometimes forgetting that you are playing a role at all. Perhaps the deepest insight is this: the question itself is an invitation to become more conscious, to look more closely at your thoughts, to step out of autopilot, to notice patterns, to see your life not merely as routine reality, but as something mysterious and precious. Whether life is a dream or a deeper truth, your experience of it is shaped largely by attention and awareness. And maybe the answer is not that life is a dream or not a dream. Maybe the answer is that life becomes real when you experience it fully, and becomes dreamlike when you drift through it unconsciously. So instead of asking, "Are we dreaming now?" perhaps the real question is, how awake are we in this moment? Your last words to someone. The idea of your last words to someone carries a quiet weight because it forces you to confront finality, the moment after which nothing more can be said, explained, repaired, or expressed. When you imagine the last words you will ever speak to someone you love, or someone you hurt, or someone you drifted away from, you realize how fragile interactions truly are. In normal life, we speak casually. We assume there will be another conversation, another chance, another tomorrow. But imagining the last words turns every sentence into something meaningful. If you knew your final words to someone were coming, you might choose differently. You might soften your tone. You might confess something long unsaid. You might apologize. You might forgive. You might say, "I love you," with a sincerity that does not hide behind humor or fear. This thought reveals how often we postpone vulnerability, saving emotional honesty for later, a later that may never arrive. Thinking about last words also reveals the tension between pride and humility. So many conflicts persist because both sides cling to ego, refusing to apologize first, refusing to admit fault, refusing to reach out. But if death or separation suddenly appeared, pride would disappear instantly. In the shadow of finality, only truth matters. Words like, "I'm sorry," "Thank you," "I miss you," "You mattered," "I forgive you," or "I see you" become far more important than any argument, frustration, or misunderstanding. And then there is the reality that last words often happen without awareness. Most people do not know when they are speaking the last words to someone. A parent says, "See you later," to a child who never returns. A friend says, "Take care," without knowing it is goodbye. A partner says goodnight, unaware it is their final moment of connection. This shows that the last words are not always poetic or resolved. Sometimes they are ordinary. But their ordinariness makes them haunting. This realization can change how you speak every day. It can make you more mindful, more compassionate, more intentional with your words. It reminds you that speech is not trivial. It is a bridge between two consciousnesses. Words can leave scars or leave blessings. They can close someone's heart or open it. There is also a deeper philosophical view. Perhaps your last words to someone are not spoken aloud, but are internal. Maybe your last communication is a thought, a memory, an energetic farewell. Even if the person never hears it, something real is transmitted in the quiet language of consciousness. People who have lost someone often replay their last conversation, hoping it was enough, hoping it expressed care, hoping it did not end on indifference or irritation. This reflection teaches a gentle truth. We are rarely given final moments wrapped in clarity. Most goodbyes in life are disguised as ordinary exchanges, so the question becomes, if every conversation could be the last, how would you speak? Would you hesitate less? Would you express appreciation more openly? Would you tell people what they mean to you? Would you take emotional risks instead of emotional shortcuts? Would you let love be visible? Thinking about your last words can also help you confront unresolved relationships. If there is someone you need to speak to forgive, to thank, to reconnect with, this awareness encourages you to reach out while time is still generous. Silence may feel safe, but it often becomes regret. Words may feel vulnerable, but they often become healing. Perhaps the deepest understanding is this: your last words to someone are not just for them. They are also for you. They define how you exit a connection, how you close a chapter. They allow you to move forward without unfinished echoes and unspoken truths. And even if you cannot change the past, you can shape the dignity of your final expression. In the end, the question, "What would your last words be?" is really asking, what do you genuinely feel? What remains when ego, impatience, anger, and defensiveness are stripped away? What would you say if only truth remained? Life as a puzzle. Life as a puzzle is a metaphor that captures the gradual, evolving, often mysterious process of discovering who you are and how your experiences fit together. Imagine your life spread out like thousands of pieces scattered across a table. In the beginning, you have no reference picture. You don't know the final shape. You don't know what matters most or how each piece connects. You start by gathering edge pieces. The basics, your family, your childhood, the language you speak, the earliest experiences that frame your sense of self and reality. These are the borders. They don't define your whole picture, but they create the structure. As you grow, more pieces appear. Friendships, emotions, failures, achievements, passions, heartbreaks. Some pieces seem like they should fit somewhere, but you don't yet know where. Some seem too strange, too dark, or too painful. You might even wish they didn't belong in your puzzle. You might attempt to ignore them or push them aside. But life teaches you that every piece has a place, even the difficult ones. There are times when pieces fit easily, moments of clarity when things make sense, when choices feel aligned, when life flows. But there are also moments when nothing seems to connect. You try piece after piece and feel frustration. During these periods, it is tempting to believe something is wrong with your puzzle, that you are missing key elements or that the design is flawed. But usually it simply means that the right segment is not ready to assemble yet. There is also the experience of finding pieces that seem connected but belong to different regions of your life. A skill you learned years ago suddenly becomes relevant in a completely unexpected context. A person you met fleetingly returns with new significance. A struggle from the past reveals a hidden lesson that gives meaning to a current challenge. This is how life slowly reveals its internal logic. The puzzle begins to form patterns, even if you couldn't see them earlier. Another fascinating part of the metaphor is that you never see all the pieces at once. Sometimes new pieces only appear through experience. You uncover them by living, by making choices, taking risks, falling in love, making mistakes, confronting fears. Certain pieces emerge only after growth, others only after loss, some only after years of reflection. Life does not give you all the information from the start, and here's something subtle. People often try to compare their puzzle to others. You look at someone else's life and think, they seem more complete. Their picture looks clearer. Their pieces fit more easily. But every human puzzle is different. Some build theirs in regions, like career or family or creativity. Others build theirs in gradients, emotional depth, spiritual insight, personal transformation. Some puzzles have bold colors, others subtle shades. Some take a long time to reveal their meaning, but every puzzle is uniquely valid and cannot be compared in any meaningful way. There is also the patience factor. With a puzzle, frustration is common when progress slows. In life, these are the periods when you feel stuck or directionless. But often these periods are necessary because they allow unseen connections to form internally. You might not be placing external pieces at those times, but internal ones are aligning, quietly and invisibly. The metaphor goes even deeper. You do not know the final picture of your life until it is nearly completed. Sometimes you think you do. You imagine a certain future, a certain identity, a certain destiny. But as more pieces come together, the image changes. You transform, your interests shift, your priorities evolve. What you thought would be central sometimes fades. What you once ignored becomes vital. This fluidity is part of the artistry of existence. Another profound aspect is recognizing that some pieces remain unsolved for long periods. Certain experiences or emotions don't make sense until much later. Sometimes decades later, you may look back and finally see why something happened or what it prepared you for. The clarity arrives only when other connecting pieces fall into place. Time itself is one of the puzzle's invisible tools. Finally, consider this. Life itself is the act of assembling the puzzle. The joy is not in finishing it, because one day the puzzle will end. The joy is in the assembling, in the curiosity, the exploration, the aha moments, the patience, and the gradual discovery of meaning. You become yourself through the process of putting your pieces together. And maybe, just maybe, when the puzzle is complete, you finally see the image of your life not from inside it but from above it, as something coherent, meaningful, and beautifully your own. Colors beyond sight. The idea of colors beyond sight invites you into a reality that exists outside the limits of human perception. Think of how you see color now. The vibrant reds, calming blues, radiant yellows, and deep greens that decorate your experience of the world. Yet scientifically, these are just interpretations of light wavelengths within a narrow band that your eyes can detect. Outside of that band is a vast spectrum, ultraviolet, infrared, and other wavelengths beyond human ability to perceive. In other words, there are colors that exist, but not for you. This alone is humbling. Now consider that other species can see what we cannot. Bees perceive ultraviolet patterns in flowers that guide them like invisible maps, patterns that for humans are hidden. Some birds and reptiles see into color spectrums humans have no names for. What does a rainbow look like to them? Perhaps richer, layered, multidimensional, almost unimaginable to our senses. When you realize this, you begin to understand that your subjective experience of reality is not total reality. It is simply your version of it. This concept can be taken further. Colors beyond sight are a metaphor for truths beyond understanding. Just as there are wavelengths you cannot see, there may be aspects of existence you cannot comprehend. Intuitively, psychologically, spiritually. Some people see life only through logic. Others perceive meaning through emotion. Others intuit patterns through intuition or subtle awareness. Perhaps our mental and perceptual boundaries limit what reality we believe is real. Imagine if consciousness itself had wavelengths, frequencies that some people see and others do not. This leads to the idea of unseen emotional color. Some people walk into a room and sense tension immediately, like feeling a dark shade in the air. Others sense warmth or calm or friction. These experiences are not visible, but they are real. Human presence radiates emotional color. Some individuals bring brightness, optimism, energy, kindness. Others bring grayness, cynicism, exhaustion, sadness. Yet all of this is invisible to the eye. It is a color experienced by intuition, empathy, or emotional intelligence. Then there are the colors of memory. Think of how certain moments feel tinted emotionally. Your childhood might feel golden, even if the actual sunlight was ordinary. A heartbreak might feel washed in blue tones, even if the environment was bright. A triumph might feel like a burst of radiant clarity. Memory paints life in emotional pigment, not optical pigment. Your recollections have colors that exist only in the mind. There is also the idea of inner colors, the colors of imagination. Close your eyes right now and imagine a color that does not exist in the physical world, something beyond the palette of nature. Your mind might generate something strange and indescribable. This shows that imagination is not constrained by biological sensing. It can produce hues that defy external reality. Consider also the psychological lens. Each person sees the world through a personal emotional filter. Some live in hopeful tones, the future full of possibility. Some see life through shadow, expecting disappointment. Some see patterns of meaning, others randomness. This emotional coloring affects perception just as much as light wavelength affects vision. Two people can witness the same event. One sees beauty, the other tragedy. The event is neutral. The interpretation colors it. And then there are spiritual interpretations. Some people believe that higher states of consciousness reveal colors or energetic frequencies invisible to the ordinary mind. Whether metaphorical or real, this idea expresses a belief that human perception can expand, that there might be forms of experience we have not yet unlocked. Colors beyond sight remind us of humility. They remind us that what we call reality might be only a slice of what truly exists. They encourage curiosity, to question assumptions, to explore unknowns, to accept that there are layers of existence beyond perception. They invite wonder, a sense that the universe is richer and deeper than the senses reveal. Maybe one day human technology will allow us to visualize wavelengths we cannot see. But even now, you can experience colors beyond sight in other ways, through deep emotion, through empathy, through intuition, through imagination. Perhaps the colors beyond physical perception are not simply scientific, but also psychological and spiritual. Ultimately, the concept encourages you to look at reality with openness. You may not see everything, but you can feel more, imagine more, sense more. There is more to the universe than meets the eye, and perhaps more to yourself than you currently perceive. Infinite you, infinite choices. The idea of infinite you, infinite choices invites you to imagine yourself not as a single fixed identity moving through one predetermined path, but as a being of potential, capable of branching into countless different futures depending on the choices you make. Right now, at this very moment, you are surrounded by invisible possibilities. You could move to a new city in 5 years. You could discover a new passion next month. You could change careers, fall in love with someone you haven't met yet, form a new belief, overcome an old habit. Every choice, even small ones, shifts the trajectory of your life in subtle ways. Think of each choice like a doorway. Some are large, life-changing decisions. Others are small. What you choose to focus on, how you react to a conversation, whether you speak or stay silent, whether you act or hesitate, whether you forgive or resent. These choices combine and ripple outward. Even a tiny decision can eventually blossom into something huge, like how reaching for a book might lead to learning something that reshapes your worldview, or how saying hello to a stranger could lead to a lifelong connection. This idea also reframes identity. Many people believe they are one fixed personality with certain traits: shy, confident, introverted, artistic, logical, whatever the label may be. But identity is not a prison. You are not limited by who you have been. You can become someone new. Every time you learn or try or risk or adapt, you expand the range of who you can be. The you of today is just one version, one snapshot in time. There are countless potential versions of you waiting to come into being. You can think of yourself like a branching tree. Each branch represents a potential future. Some branches lead to growth and light, others lead to difficulty or stagnation. You may not see the full tree right now. You may only see the few branches closest to you. But as you grow, more become visible. You discover new options that didn't exist before. Possibilities are not static. They expand as you do. There is also a powerful emotional truth here. You are not trapped by the past. Maybe there were times when you made choices out of fear, insecurity, or confusion. Maybe you avoided certain risks or stayed in comfort zones because you weren't ready. But every moment gives you a new chance to choose differently. Past choices shape you, but they don't imprison you. The future remains open. Some people feel like they have very few choices because circumstances constrain them. But even then, internal choices remain available. How you interpret events, how you respond emotionally, what attitude you adopt, what meaning you assign to your life. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor, wrote that while everything can be taken from a person, the last freedom is the ability to choose one's response to any situation. Even in limitation, choice survives. The concept of infinite you also implies that you are not just one self, but a collection of potential selves. There is a version of you who becomes bold and fearless. There is a version who becomes deeply spiritual. There is a version who becomes analytical and scientific, one who becomes artistic, one who becomes nurturing, one who becomes adventurous. These are not fantasies. They are psychological potentials that live within you. Which version emerges depends on how you choose to live. There's also the interesting idea of parallel selves. Every choice creates another path, another you, living the consequences of an alternate decision. While this may be metaphorical or literal depending on one's beliefs, it highlights a simple truth. Life is not linear, it is branching. The concept encourages responsibility but also empowerment. You are not helplessly carried by fate. You are a participant in shaping your journey. Even random chance interacts with choice. You don't choose everything that happens to you, but you choose how to meet it, how to integrate it, and how to transform it. The infinite nature of choice also brings freedom. It means that who you could become is far larger than who you currently are. It means the future is not predetermined. It is open. It means that life holds surprises and possibilities that exceed imagination. Perhaps the most important realization is this: the infinite potential is not something outside of you. It is you. You are the field of possibility. Every time you choose intentionally, courageously, consciously, you step into a new version of yourself. And over time, those choices transform the entire arc of your existence. The last trace of humanity. The idea of the last trace of humanity invites you to imagine a scenario where everything that defines human civilization, technology, culture, society, language, architecture, eventually fades. All the monuments collapse, all the cities return to dust, all the digital memories disappear, and all the physical signs of civilization erode with time. What remains then? What is the final essence of human existence? The last trace that echoes after everything else is gone. Maybe the last trace of humanity is not a monument, but a memory carried by consciousness. Perhaps it exists not in stone or metal, but in a whisper of awareness, a lingering impression of thought and emotion. Humans are beings of meaning, not merely matter. You feel love, fear, yearning, curiosity. You create stories, songs, dreams. You bring intention and imagination into existence. These qualities could be considered the true fingerprint of humanity. If everything else vanished, these qualities might exist as an energetic imprint, a vibration of consciousness that once wondered, loved, and hoped. Imagine a far future where another intelligence, human or otherwise, looks back at traces of our existence. Would they see our buildings? Probably not. Would they hear our languages? Unlikely. Instead, they might perceive the emotional and symbolic essence of what humans were. A species that loved deeply, that feared mortality, that sought meaning, that asked questions, that looked at the stars and wondered if someone was looking back. Perhaps the last trace of humanity is the questions we asked. What is life? Why are we here? What happens after death? Does consciousness end? These inquiries send ripples through existence. Maybe the universe remembers not the answers, but the longing behind the questions, the desire to know, to understand, to connect. Another possibility is that the last trace of humanity lives in relationships, in the subtle threads of connection formed between beings. Consider the simple yet profound moments: a parent holding a child, a friend comforting another, two strangers forming empathy, a person sacrificing for someone else. These acts of connection express something uniquely human, something that might outlast physical forms. It might also be memory, not personal memory, but cosmic memory, the impression left behind by a species that experienced existence with sensitivity and awareness. Even when every artifact decays, perhaps the emotional resonance remains, like a scent that lingers in the air after the source has vanished. There is also a more philosophical interpretation. The last trace of humanity might be the very capacity to recognize beauty. Think of how humans marvel at sunsets, music, a kind face, a gentle voice. Perhaps beauty is not merely perception. Maybe it is participation. Maybe through appreciation, humans contributed to the universe's experience of itself. And consider empathy, the ability to feel the experience of another being. This might be one of humanity's most profound legacies. If consciousness evolves elsewhere, maybe empathy remains as a foundational imprint, a model of emotional interconnection. Finally, imagine the last human, not necessarily lonely or tragic, but simply the end of a long cycle. In their final thoughts, they would not think of skyscrapers or governments or algorithms, but of other people, love, memories, meaning, awareness. In that moment, the final trace of humanity would be distilled into a single presence of consciousness. The feeling of being, the experience of existing. Perhaps humanity's true legacy is not physical achievement, but inner life, the invisible realm of values, emotions, creativity, and awareness. The universe may eventually erase every stone and every digital record, but something in the essence of experience, the quality of having lived as a thinking, feeling being, may remain as a subtle echo woven into the fabric of existence. So the last trace of humanity is not in what we built, but in how we were. It is not in what we left behind externally, but in what we expressed internally. The last trace is consciousness itself, fleeting, luminous, aware, stardust and self-discovery. The idea of stardust and self-discovery begins with a literal scientific truth. Your body, your bones, your blood, your cells, are made of elements formed in ancient stars. Hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen, iron, all the essential ingredients of life originated in cosmic furnaces billions of years ago. When stars exploded in supernovae, they scattered these elements across the universe. Eventually, those particles became planets, oceans, soil, trees, animals, and eventually you. So when you look at your hands, you are looking at matter that once burned in the core of a star. This realization alone shifts your sense of identity. You are not a small accident in an indifferent universe. You are part of a cosmic lineage. You are connected to the stars above you, the space between them, and the origins of everything that exists. In a very real sense, the universe is not something outside observing you. You are the universe observing itself. Now bring this into self-discovery, the journey of understanding who you are emotionally, intellectually, spiritually. Many people search for their identity within human-made frameworks: career, personality traits, achievements, roles, parent, child, friend, worker, citizen. But the Stardust perspective tells you that you are more than these labels. You are not just a biography, you are a continuation of cosmic history. Self-discovery often begins when you ask deeper questions. What am I beyond my thoughts, beyond my habits, beyond my fears, beyond my conditioning? These questions peel away layers of identity, like removing clothing to reveal the body beneath. Eventually, you reach something simple: awareness, the quiet, observing presence that experiences life. Maybe self-discovery isn't about adding identities, but shedding them. You are not discovering who you should be. You are remembering who you always were, a conscious expression of the universe. This also reframes your struggles. If you feel lost, uncertain, directionless, that too is part of cosmic unfolding. Stars collapse before they ignite. Seeds dissolve before they sprout. Identity must sometimes unravel before it reorganizes. Even confusion can be a stage of becoming. There is also humility in knowing you are stardust. Your problems, though emotionally real, are not cosmic failures. Your existence is part of something vastly larger. In moments of anxiety, this perspective can soften the edges of stress. You are a brief, miraculous moment of matter that became aware, that formed thoughts, laughed, creed, questioned, loved. And yet, knowing you are stardust does not diminish individuality. It elevates it. You are both universal and unique. Millions of particles came together in a configuration that has never existed before and will never exist again. Your perspective, your inner world, your emotional landscape, all are singular. There has never been a consciousness exactly like yours. Self-discovery is also about connection. If you are stardust, so is everyone else. This realization can deepen empathy. You are not separate. You are made of the same cosmic material as every other human, every animal, every plant, every rock, every cloud. Separation is a perception. Unity is the underlying fact. As you grow in self-discovery, you may realize that you are not just learning who you are learning how to be. How to inhabit your existence more fully. How to live authentically. How to align with your deeper nature rather than external expectations. This process can be slow, non-linear, and sometimes painful, like mining through layers to find a core of truth. The stardust perspective also gives meaning to mortality. The body returns to the earth, the elements return to circulation, the consciousness dissolves back into whatever field it arose from. Nothing is truly lost. It transforms. The same atoms that once formed stars will again form other structures, other lives, other expressions. You are a temporary arrangement of ancient matter, animated by awareness. Self-discovery, then, is not just psychological exploration. It is cosmic recognition. It is realizing that your existence is both deeply personal and incredibly universal. Perhaps the real journey is not about becoming anything, but awakening to the fact that you already are something extraordinary. The universe in human form, seeking to understand itself. Remembering the future. The idea of remembering the future invites you to step beyond ordinary time. Beyond the usual flow where the past is fixed, the present is unfolding, and the future is unknown. This concept suggests that the future might not be as blank or distant as we assume. Instead, it might already exist in potential form, and sometimes we glimpse it unconsciously, like a memory that has not yet happened. You may have experienced moments where you knew something before it occurred, a person you felt you would one day meet, a job or passion that felt inevitable before it entered your life, a strong inner sense that certain events would happen. Some people describe this as intuition. Others call it destiny. Others see it as subconscious pattern recognition. But the sensation can feel very real, a pull toward a future moment that is already waiting. This leads to a curious idea. Perhaps some parts of your future are already written, not as a rigid script, but as a set of powerful probabilities. The future may not be a blank canvas, but a constellation of potential outcomes. And memory might not only reflect what has happened, but what your deeper self senses you are moving toward. Sometimes remembering the future feels like déjà vu, but projected forward, you don't feel like something has happened before. You feel like something will happen again. You recognize a direction before you walk it. You feel a sense of familiarity with a path you haven't yet taken. This idea connects with the concept of inner knowing. Somewhere within you, there may be a vision of who you are becoming. Your desires, instincts, creative impulses, these might be echoes from your future self. You may not rationally know where you're going, but part of you already remembers. It pulls you like gravity toward experiences that match your unfolding identity. Think about how dreams sometimes foreshadow future events, not necessarily literally, but symbolically. Think about how children sometimes speak of their future with confidence, as though they already know something the adults cannot see. Think about how people sometimes say, "I just knew that this was going to happen." These experiences hint that the future may not be entirely undiscovered, but partially remembered. There is also a psychological angle. The brain is a prediction engine. It is constantly forecasting what comes next, based on patterns, knowledge, intuition, and emotional resonance. Perhaps remembering the future is simply the brain assembling fragments of what is likely to unfold. But there is another possibility, that consciousness itself is not entirely bound by linear time. Imagine time as a river. Most people believe they stand in the middle, carried forward by the flow, but perhaps consciousness can float above the river, seeing both upstream and downstream, glimpsing not only memory of past events, but memory of future ones. This may be why certain life choices feel meant to be, because your future self is calling back to your present self, reassuring you that the path will make sense. There is also the idea that recalling the future is an act of creation. When you visualize a desired future, success, love, healing, transformation, you are not simply imagining something new. You might be remembering something your soul already distilled. Your vision becomes a bridge between what is and what will be. Reality begins to align with intention. Sometimes remembering the future appears as a feeling, a sense of alignment. You might meet someone and feel instantly that they will be important in your story. You might start something small, an interest, a hobby, and feel it will become central. You might know you will one day live somewhere, do something, become someone, even if the path is unclear. This concept also brings hope. It suggests that the future might hold fulfillment already waiting, and that you are moving toward it even if you cannot yet see the full shape. It encourages trust in intuition. Trust that there is a deeper intelligence operating within you. Perhaps the future is not something entirely ahead of you, but something already written in your inner being. Perhaps remembering the future is simply tuning into that deeper knowing, listening to the whispers of the self you are becoming. So when you have flashes of inner certainty, when you sense a destiny unfolding, when life feels like a story you are remembering rather than inventing, maybe that is not fantasy. Maybe that is your future self speaking, gently revealing pieces of the map. The existence of the unseen. The idea of the existence of the unseen invites you to consider everything that exists beyond human perception. Not just physically unseen things, but emotional, psychological, and metaphysical realities. When you look around, you see objects, light, color, form. But what you do not see is just as vast, perhaps far more so. Most of the universe is invisible to the naked eye. You cannot see dark matter, yet it shapes galaxies. You cannot see oxygen, yet it fills your lungs. You cannot see gravity, yet it anchors your body to the earth. The unseen is not empty, it is foundational. This extends into human experience. You cannot see someone's thoughts, but they exist. You cannot see someone's emotions, but they can be powerful enough to change a life. You cannot see someone's memories, but they influence every decision. Behind every expression, there is an invisible inner world, a landscape of feelings, fears, hopes, and dreams that cannot be measured by sight. The unseen also includes relationships. You cannot see the bond between parent and child, or the attachment between friends, or the invisible thread of love. But it is real. It can be felt. It can be known. Humans often forget that invisible forces can be stronger than visible ones. There is also the internal unseen, parts of yourself you have not yet uncovered. You have strengths you haven't discovered, courage you haven't needed yet, creativity that hasn't been expressed yet, wisdom that hasn't been called upon yet. The unseen self is like a seed, dormant, waiting for the right season to awaken. On a broader level, the unseen can be intuition, the silent inner voice that guides decisions without logical explanation. We feel things we cannot articulate. We sense danger before it is visible. We feel connection without words. This intuitive knowing is a form of unseen perception, not through the eyes, but through awareness. The unseen also includes potential. Every moment is filled with infinite possibilities. Most of them never actualize. They remain as invisible futures that could have been. The person you did not become, the life you did not live, the path you did not choose, the universe of unrealized possibilities exists in silence, beside the one you inhabit. And then there are unseen causes. A person might snap at you today, but you don't see the grief they carry from yesterday. Someone may seem cold or distant soon, but you don't see their history of betrayal. Someone may act confident, but you don't see the self-doubt beneath it. Judgment often arises from seeing only the visible surface, never the invisible context. The unseen also addresses spirituality, not in a religious sense only, but in the experiential sense. Humans often feel presence, something in the silence, something in nature, something in moments of awe or stillness, a subtle awareness that there is more to existence than physical matter. Whether this is interpreted as energy, consciousness, soul, or the divine, it highlights that existence is not limited to the measurable. Even scientifically, humans see only a fraction of what exists. The electromagnetic spectrum contains countless wavelengths, but human vision captures less than 1% of it. There are sounds humans cannot hear, forms of energy humans cannot detect, dimensions theorized but unseen. This suggests that perception is not a mirror of reality. It is a filter. Perhaps the unseen is not a void, but a realm teeming with meaning and influence. The visible world is like the tip of an iceberg. The unseen is everything beneath the surface, massive and essential. When you accept the existence of the unseen, you become humbler, softer, more curious. You listen more deeply. You judge less quickly. You recognize that reality is layered, that every person carries invisible stories and every moment contains invisible possibilities. Maybe the unseen is not meant to be fully understood, but respected. It invites wonder. It invites reverence. It reminds you that existence is richer than perception, deeper than experience, and wider than understanding. There is more happening beyond your senses than within them. And the unseen is not an absence. It is a mystery that shapes the visible world in every moment. Would past you recognize present you? The question, would past you recognize present you, asks you to reflect on the journey of your identity, how it has evolved, shifted, hardened, softened, expanded, collapsed, and transformed through time. When you look back at your younger self, perhaps 5, 10, or 20 years ago, you may see a version of yourself shaped by different beliefs, hopes, insecurities, and assumptions. That past self may have imagined a certain future, but did they imagine this one? Did they imagine you as you are now? In some ways, the past you might be shocked by who you've become. Perhaps you're braver than you used to be, more willing to speak, to risk, to assert boundaries. Or maybe you're softer, less opinionated, more compassionate, less judgmental. You might have gained insight or lost illusions. You might have abandoned old dreams or found new ones. Past you had expectations about the future, but life often unfolds differently than imagination predicts. This question also raises a deeper psychological truth. Identity is not fixed. The you of yesterday is not identical to the you of today. Personality is not a solid object. It is a flowing process. You learn, you heal, you adapt, you unlearn. Life shapes you, but so does your interpretation of it. Experiences, especially painful or meaningful ones, carve new pathways in your being. People who pass through your life change your emotional landscape. Each year adds something, a scar, a lesson, a layer of perspective. But maybe past you would recognize you, not by your habits or beliefs, but by something deeper, your essence. Beneath all the layers of growth and change, there is a core self that persists, a spark of awareness that has remained consistent since childhood. The way you laughed at certain things, the way you felt emotion, the way you asked questions. That unchanging witness might be the link between past and present. The outer identity evolves. The inner presence endures. Think about how past you viewed the world. Maybe they were more idealistic or more afraid or more curious. Would they admire who you've become? Would they be surprised? Would they be disappointed or moved? Maybe past you would be proud of your resilience, of what you survived and learned. Or maybe they would be saddened by certain compromises or losses. Maybe they would envy your wisdom or miss your old innocence. This question also reveals the nature of personal transformation. Growth often happens gradually. So gradually you barely feel it. You wake up one day and realize you're different, but you didn't notice the change as it happened. Past you might not anticipate how life would refine your values, how relationships would shape your emotional maturity, how failures would deepen your humility, how responsibility would sharpen your focus. There's also the bittersweet aspect. Would past you recognize your emotional world? Perhaps you've grown more private or more expressive. Perhaps you've shed people-pleasing tendencies or embraced independence. Perhaps you've lost a certain naive joy but gained a more grounded understanding of life. Ultimately, this question asks, are you proud of who you've become? But also, can you forgive who you once were? Often, people look back at their earlier selves with frustration for mistakes made, opportunities missed, immaturity expressed. But compassion is necessary here. Past you did not have the knowledge, perspective, or emotional tools that present you has. They were learning. Just as present you is still learning. Just as future you will learn. Maybe the most meaningful way to answer the question is this. Rather than asking whether past you would recognize present you, ask whether present you can embrace past you, understand them, appreciate them, respect them, even if they were flawed or lost or confused, because that person was the foundation of who you are now. The past you does not need to recognize every detail of present you. It is enough that they would recognize the spark, the inner aliveness, the core of awareness, the longing to understand yourself and the world that essence has carried forward through change, through time, through every version of you. The universe as a dream. The idea of the universe as a dream asks you to imagine that reality itself might be more fluid, more symbolic, and more consciousness-dependent than we normally assume. When you dream at night, you create worlds, places, people, events. that you experience as real within the dream. A mountain in a dream feels solid, a voice feels audible, a fear feels genuine. Yet upon waking, you realize that none of it existed independently of your mind. The dream arose within consciousness, unfolded in consciousness, and dissolved back into consciousness. Now imagine that waking life might function similarly, not as a fixed external reality, but as something co-created with perception. Philosophers, mystics, and scientists have long considered this possibility. Some say reality is emergent, others, reality is constructed. Some reality is interpreted rather than perceived. In this view, the universe is not a solid machine. It is a fluid experience. Consider how perception shapes existence. Two people can live in the same world but see completely different realities. To one person, life is struggle. To another, life is opportunity. To one person, existence is chaotic. To another, it is meaningful. These are not simply attitudes. They are lived experiences. You do not just observe reality. You participate in shaping it. Just like in a dream where your emotional state influences what happens, perhaps in waking life your inner world influences the outer. There is also the scientific perspective. At the quantum level, particles exist in states of probability, unrealized until observed. The observer literally affects the outcome. Matter itself behaves differently in response to measurement. This blurs the line between external world and inner awareness. It hints that consciousness and reality are intertwined. Now consider the metaphysical interpretation. The idea that the universe might be a kind of dream of consciousness itself. In some traditions, consciousness is not a byproduct of the universe. It is the source. Reality blooms from awareness the way dreams arise from the mind. In this sense, each person, each galaxy, each atom is part of a larger cosmic imagination. You are both dreaming and being dreamed. Think of how symbolic life often feels, how people appear in your life at meaningful times, how coincidences can seem orchestrated, how personal crises also bring transformation, how emotions seem mirrored by events. It's as though life has narrative texture, not purely mechanical cause and effect, but dramatic timing, poetic sequences, emotional coherence. These qualities are similar to dream logic, where events carry symbolic weight rather than literal structure. Also consider identity. When you dream, you fully believe you are the dream self, the one experiencing the events. But when you wake up, you see that the dream self was temporary. It existed within a larger consciousness. The waking you. Now imagine your present identity, your personality, your history, one day being revealed as a kind of temporary dream self within a greater awareness. Perhaps waking up, spiritually or existentially, is recognizing that you are not the character in the universe, but the dreamer behind it, not the wave, but the ocean. There is another layer to this metaphor, the fluidity of time. In dreams, time can stretch, collapse, rearrange. Similarly, waking memory is not rigid. It shifts, reshapes, colors the past with emotion. The future is not fixed. It emerges dynamically from interaction between intention and chance. The present itself feels like a point of constant creation. Just as dreams flow, waking reality flows. If the universe is like a dream, then many of our fears, fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being enough, might be based on mistaking the dream for absolute truth. In dreams, you might experience terror, but upon waking, you realize it was an illusion. Perhaps one day, in a deeper awakening, you may look back on your life's anxieties and see them similarly, as part of a fleeting but meaningful experience that shaped growth and self-awareness. This concept doesn't diminish the value of life. It enhances it, because in a dream, meaning is not imposed, it emerges from within. Perhaps life is the universe expressing itself through experience, discovering itself through beings like you. If the universe is a dream, then every moment is creative, every interaction sacred, every consciousness a window. Maybe someday, at the end of physical existence, you will awaken into a higher awareness and say, "It felt real, so beautifully, intensely real. But now I see the larger context." And perhaps that awakening will feel like remembering something you always knew, that you were never separate from the dream nor from the dreamer. Are you still the same person? The question, "Are you still the same person?" leads you into a reflection on identity through time. How much of who you are is constant and how much has changed? At first glance, it seems like you should be the same person. You have the same name, the same body, certain memories that trace your life, but look deeper. You are not physically the same. The cells in your body regenerate, and many have been replaced multiple times over since childhood. The body you inhabit now is not the one you had at 10 or 20 or even last year. The physical you is a flowing river, never static. But what about the psychological self? Think back to earlier versions of you. The beliefs you once held firmly may now seem naive, misguided, or incomplete. Things you cared intensely about may no longer matter. Challenges that once overwhelmed you might now seem trivial. You might not even recognize the emotional reactions you used to have. The person who once felt afraid to take risks might now be bold. The person who once avoided confrontation might now speak clearly. The person who once sought approval might now seek authenticity. These shifts suggest that psychologically you have transformed, perhaps gradually, perhaps dramatically. But there is also a piece of you that feels continuous, an inner witness. When you remember childhood moments, there is a sense that the same consciousness experienced them. Even though your emotions, thoughts, and knowledge have changed, there is a subtle awareness that links past to present, a thread of presence that feels timeless. This raises the possibility that you are made of two selves, the changing self and the enduring self. The changing self is shaped by experience. It evolves through learning, adaptation, healing, and challenge. It is influenced by the people you meet, the environments you inhabit, the roles you assume. This self is like a story that constantly rewrites itself. But the enduring self is not the story. It is the storyteller. It is not the content of your thoughts. It is the awareness behind them. Consider how you respond emotionally to life. The same event that once shattered you might barely shake you now, or vice versa. This reveals that emotional identity is sculpted through time. You were not born with a fixed personality. You have been building it moment by moment. If someone showed past you who you are now, they might not fully recognize the shift. Or they might say, "Yes, that makes sense," seeing the continuity of growth. This question also touches on personal narrative, the story of self. We often construct identity by telling ourselves who we are. "I'm this kind of person. I don't do that. I always react like this. I'm good at this. I'm bad at that." But these stories are often temporary, psychological snapshots that can be updated. You may have reinvented yourself multiple times, shedding identities like old skins. Think of the self as a flame in a candle. The flame looks continuous, but the fuel feeding it changes constantly. The light may be steady from vikun to di, but the fire is never the same. Similarly, you appear constant from the outside, but internally, you are always becoming. This is both liberating and challenging. Liberating because it means you are not confined to past versions of yourself. Challenging because it reveals that identity is fluid and and therefore uncertain. Some people cling to old identities because change is frightening. Others avoid acknowledging growth because it forces a re-evaluation of relationships, beliefs, and life choices. But change is inevitable, and resisting it creates inner tension. So are you still the same person? The most honest answer might be paradoxical. Yes and no. The form changes. The essence persists. The personality evolves. The presence remains. You are continuity through change. You are the moving river and the riverbed beneath it. You are the flame and the light it produces. Perhaps the question is not, are you the same person, but which part of you is you? The ego shifts. The emotions transform. The beliefs fluctuate. The memories reinterpret themselves. But beneath all of that, there is an identity that is not defined by words or history. A quiet, conscious being that experiences life moment by moment. That might be the real you, the unchanging witness within constant change. And if you truly see yourself this way, you may find compassion for both your past and present selves. Each was necessary, each was real, each was a step on the path. The person you are becoming is as real as the person you were, and both live within the same continuum of existence. The last time you're remembered. The idea of the last time you're remembered asks you to reflect on legacy, not in a grand historical sense, but in a deeply personal one. One day there will be a final moment when someone speaks your name or recalls your face or mentions a story about you. After that moment, your presence in living memory will fade. This is not tragic. It is simply the quiet truth of human existence. Most people are not remembered for centuries. Most are not carved into monuments or recorded in textbooks. They live in smaller circles of memory, through family, friends, and a handful of moments that mattered. You might imagine that the last time you're remembered will come long after your passing, in a conversation between people who knew you. Maybe it's your grandchild telling their daughter about you. Maybe it's a friend who pauses and says, "I knew someone once who used to do that." Maybe it's a person who met you briefly, but something you said stayed with them. And then eventually there will be no one left with direct memory of your existence. The world will continue, new people will be born, new stories will overwrite old ones. This realization might seem unsettling at first. That memory of you will not be eternal. But when you think more deeply, it reveals something beautiful. You were never meant to live forever as a character in the minds of others. Your purpose may not be to be remembered for centuries, but to have meaningful impact in the moments you lived. Perhaps you touched someone's life in a way that changed their path, even if they later forget your name. Perhaps you showed kindness that shifted someone's emotional world. Perhaps you shaped someone's perspective in a way that echoes silently through their behavior, even if they cannot trace it back to you. In this way, legacy becomes less about being remembered explicitly and more about the influence you had on the human stream of consciousness. Elements of you continue indirectly, through values, actions, compassion, and energy, even after your name dissolves from memory. Maybe a person you once encouraged later encourages someone else. Maybe a perspective you shared continues through another voice. Maybe your presence subtly altered the emotional tone of someone's life. Even if the memory fades, there is also humility in recognizing that memory is selective. You may be remembered differently by different people. To one person, you might be a source of comfort. To another, a source of inspiration. To another, merely a passing acquaintance. Each person remembers a different version of you, because everyone saw you through their own lens. Think of your own memories of people who have passed. Some you remember clearly, others vaguely. Some you think of with warmth, others with sorrow. Their presence remains in pieces, in fragments, and most of the people who influenced you, you will forget them eventually, but their influence may still live inside you. In this sense, being remembered is not the only way to endure. The final time you're remembered marks the completion of your presence in living memory, but not the end of your impact. Just as stars that died millions of years ago still emit light that reaches us, actions and kindness may continue to ripple through human experience long after the source has been forgotten. The memory disappears, but the effect remains. And there is something profoundly peaceful in this idea. You are part of a much larger human tapestry, a lineage of experience, emotion, and learning. You are a temporary expression of consciousness, contributing your part to the collective evolution. When the last person who remembers you passes on, it does not mean you are erased. It means you have dissolved back into the wider stream of existence where personal identity yields to universal continuity. Perhaps the goal is not to resist being forgotten, but to live so meaningfully that even when you are forgotten, the essence of how you lived continues, invisibly shaping the future. Unconscious actions. Unconscious actions are the things you do without thinking. The habits, reactions, impulses, and routines that unfold automatically below the surface of awareness. Most people believe they make conscious decisions all day long, but in truth, a huge portion of human behavior is driven by unconscious programming. From the way you tie your shoes, to how you respond when someone raises their voice, to the thoughts that pop into your mind, much of your daily life happens without deliberate choice. Think about simple physical actions. You breathe automatically. You blink. You walk while thinking about something completely unrelated. You drive a familiar route and arrive without remembering the journey. These actions happen so smoothly and efficiently because the unconscious mind is constantly running scripts in the background, handling patterns your mind has mastered so that your conscious attention can focus elsewhere. But unconscious actions extend far beyond physical habits. Emotional reactions often arise before you're even aware of them. You may feel anger, fear, or sadness before you consciously understand why. Your unconscious mind recognizes patterns instantly: a tone of voice, a facial expression, an atmosphere, and triggers responses based on past experiences. That means a present moment can activate emotional memory from years ago, shaping your behavior without your awareness. Much of your personality has been built this way. What you avoid, what you chase, what makes you uncomfortable, what makes you feel safe. These tendencies often come from unconscious conditioning, early experiences, cultural norms, family dynamics, unspoken expectations, and repeated interpretations of events. Over time, your nervous system learns what to protect you from and what to approach. But it learns these things through emotion, not logic. This is why sometimes you act against your own intentions. You say you want to change, but you repeat the same habits. You say you want to stay calm, but you snap in frustration. You say you want to focus, but you drift into distraction. The unconscious mind is powerful, wired for survival, efficiency, and the familiar. It loves routine and repetition. It resists change because change feels uncertain. Another fascinating dimension is unconscious bias, automatic thoughts and judgments that happen before conscious evaluation. These biases are shaped by your environment, culture, upbringing, and repeated messages. You might not consciously believe something, but an unconscious reaction still appears. This doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you human. The unconscious mind learns quickly and deeply, often without permission. Yet unconscious actions are not only limitations, they're also strengths. They allow you to learn skills deeply enough that you no longer need to think about them. A musician plays a complex piece because their unconscious mind handles thousands of micro movements effortlessly. An athlete performs with instinct because their training has been internalized. Even creativity emerges from the unconscious. The sudden idea, the intuitive solution, the surprising insight. Dreams also reveal unconscious processes, symbolic narratives expressing emotions and conflicts you may not fully understand consciously. The unconscious speaks in images, impulses, and feelings, not in linear reasoning. It is like a deep ocean beneath the surface of your awareness, vast, powerful, and constantly moving. The key to growth is not eliminating unconscious actions. That's impossible. But becoming aware of them. When you observe your own patterns, you begin to see the connections. Why certain comments trigger you, why certain behaviors repeat, why certain fears persist. Awareness gives you choice. What was once automatic can be examined. What was once unconscious can be understood. Mindfulness, reflection, therapy, journaling, and honest conversation are tools that help bring unconscious patterns to light. When you notice something you do without thinking, you have the chance to ask, where did this come from? Does it serve me? Is it outdated? Is it protecting me or limiting me? And slowly, through noticing, you begin to reclaim agency over your behavior. Ultimately, unconscious actions are a reminder that you are layered, not just one self, but many selves within you. The conscious mind is like the tip of an iceberg, while the unconscious forms the massive structure below. You are not fully aware of everything you are, and that is both the mystery and the beauty of being human. Your growth comes from exploring the depths of your own mind, gently revealing what operates unseen. The fleeting youngest person. The idea of the fleeting youngest person is a subtle meditation on time and the strange privilege of existing in a moment that never repeats. Right now, at this very instant, somewhere in the world, there is a newborn, the youngest person alive. But within seconds, they are no longer the youngest. Another baby is born, and another moment of youngest human passes on. That title is always moving, always shifting, never held for more than a breath. This concept reminds us that life is an ongoing relay, a continuous unfolding of existence from one moment to the next. Each person at their birth becomes the newest expression of humanity, the latest consciousness to enter the world. But as soon as life begins, so does the movement of time. We all step into aging the very moment we arrive. There is no pause. You are never again as young as you are right now. Each second gently carries you forward. Reflecting on this can feel bittersweet. There was a moment when you were the youngest person on earth, even if only for a heartbeat. And then time moved, unnoticed, carrying you onward. You didn't remember it, but it was part of your existence. It implies that every stage of life, childhood, adolescence, adulthood, is temporary, occupied only briefly before being handed to the next generation. It also humbles us. We tend to believe in personal importance, as if our life is central to existence. But this concept reveals that humanity is a flowing stream, not a single identity. You are one drop in a vast river. You pass through existence, contribute your energy, your story, your interactions, and then make space for others who come after. There is dignity in that, being part of a lineage of presence. On a deeper level, the fleeting youngest person highlights the nature of impermanence. Nothing that defines you stays still. Not your age, not your appearance, not your roles, not even your personality. You change continuously, often subtly, sometimes dramatically. Just as the youngest person ages instantly, you too are constantly transforming, even in ways you cannot perceive moment to moment. Life is motion, identity is motion. Time never freezes, but this concept is not only about the beginning of life. It is also about wonder. Each new person enters the world with infinite potential, unwritten, unshaped, unformed. Before they acquire language, culture, memory, or belief, they are pure possibility, consciousness in its freshest state. They might one day become an artist, teacher, scientist, wanderer, parent, philosopher, or simply a quiet, gentle soul who touches others in everyday ways. Their future is open. They begin at zero with no defined identity, only the potential to become. And yet, at the same time, every person is the product of billions of years of evolution, thousands of generations of ancestry, countless stories and struggles that led to their existence. They are new, but also ancient. Youngest, yet carrying the weight of cosmic history in their DNA. In that sense, every newborn is both a beginning and a continuation. Think also of how quickly time slips away. Today's youngest person will one day be old, their life full of memories, love, failures, accomplishments, regrets, laughter, grief. Their story will fill decades, and then they will eventually be replaced, remembered by some, forgotten by others as the cycle continues. The fleeting youngest person is a reminder to cherish your own fleetingness, to value the present moment, to live with awareness, to appreciate your time in the world. Your chance to exist, to feel, to choose, to change, to express. There will never again be another first moment of your life, but there will always be new opportunities to begin again internally. You may not always be the youngest person, but you can always be the newest version of yourself. Why aliens might ignore us. The idea of why aliens might ignore us invites you to consider humanity's place in a vast, ancient, and incomprehensibly intelligent cosmos. People often visualize aliens as curious, eager to communicate, actively seeking us. But what if the reality is the opposite? What if advanced civilizations know we exist and simply don't care? One possibility is developmental. Imagine observing a nest of young birds or a colony of insects. You do not introduce yourself because they lack the cognitive structure to understand you. Likewise, in civilization millions of years older might view us as intellectually primitive, still struggling with tribal conflict, ego-driven leadership, material obsession, and limited understanding of consciousness. They may see us as we see early organisms, interesting perhaps, but not ready for meaningful interaction. There's also the question of noise. We assume we are broadcasting ourselves into space, with radio waves, television signals, spacecraft. But these signals weaken exponentially as they travel. By a few light years away, they dissolve into static, indistinguishable from cosmic background noise. From a galactic perspective, Earth might be just another quiet, unimpressive planet orbiting an ordinary star. Another possibility is ethical non-interference. Just as we have rules about not disturbing certain ecosystems or indigenous tribes, advanced beings might follow a cosmic principle of non-contact with emerging civilizations. They may believe that interacting with a young species interferes with natural development, altering culture, evolution, and spiritual growth. Our societal and technological evolution might be something they prefer to watch without interfering. But there's a humbling possibility. Maybe humanity is simply boring to them. A species capable of interstellar travel may have already encountered thousands of civilizations, some beautiful, some terrifying, some enlightened. Why focus on a species that only recently discovered electricity, still behaves aggressively, and often prioritizes competition over cooperation? From a cosmic perspective, we may not be exhibiting anything fundamentally new. There's also the question of emotional and spiritual maturity. Perhaps truly advanced beings communicate through nonverbal, telepathic, or energetic means, ways we cannot comprehend. Engaging with us through language and sound might feel childish to them. We may be trying to speak toddler-level consciousness to a species living in a post-symbolic awareness. Imagine trying to discuss morality with a fish. The gap is too large. Another possibility is that aliens operate on scales we cannot perceive. If they exist in forms of energy, quantum states, or higher dimensions, they may move through reality in ways we cannot detect. To them, we might be as unaware as bacteria are of humans. Our senses may be blind to their existence. Their technology might be invisible to our instruments. Presence does not require visibility. And then, there's the uncomfortable psychological angle. Perhaps they already visited us a long time ago. Maybe they came when Earth was still forming or when only early life existed. Perhaps they determined then that this planet held nothing particularly remarkable or threatening and moved on. Or perhaps they check in periodically and conclude that humans remain too self-destructive or hostile for open communication. There is also the survival perspective. A wise civilization does not announce itself or draw attention. They may be avoiding us not out of disdain, but caution. They might view humanity as dangerous, unpredictable, violently territorial, emotionally volatile, and armed with nuclear capability. From their perspective, contacting us could be like approaching a primate with a loaded weapon. Finally, there's the existential thought. Maybe communication requires similarity of essence. Perhaps civilizations communicate not through technology, but alignment of consciousness. Perhaps enlightenment is the universal language, and immature species simply cannot be understood yet. All these possibilities lead to one profound idea. Humanity may not be as important as we imagine. The universe is ancient. It may host civilizations billions of years ahead. Our species is young, learning, stumbling, fighting, still battling over territory, ideology, and identity. We are just beginning to question consciousness, meaning, and interconnectedness. So maybe aliens ignore us not because we are invisible, but because we are unready. The silence we interpret as cosmic indifference may actually be patience. The lack of contact may be kindness. The distance may be necessary. Perhaps when humanity matures, when aggression gives way to empathy, when ego dissolves into awareness, when technology evolves alongside wisdom, then the universe might open. Maybe contact is not something we receive, but something we earn, measuring time, or time measuring us. The question, measuring time or time measuring us, challenges our intuitive belief that time is something we control, something we track and quantify, rather than something that shapes us from the inside out. Humans invented clocks, calendars, time zones, schedules, deadlines. We measure time in seconds, hours, days, years. But when you look deeper, you begin to realize that time is not just an external linear ruler. It is also an internal sculptor carving the very substance of who we are. We measure time by counting birthdays, but time measures us by changing our bodies, our face, our energy. We measure time by tracking careers and accomplishments, but time measures us by transforming our priorities, our perspectives, our emotional textures. We think of time as something outside us, but in reality, time flows through us, not around us. Think of childhood. At that stage, time feels endless. A year feels like a lifetime. Waiting 1 hour seems unbearable. As we age, time accelerates. Years slip by with baffling speed. This suggests that time is not experienced uniformly. It is filtered through consciousness. To a child, each moment is fresh, expansive. To an adult, the brain recognizes patterns, compresses memory, and time seems to speed up. So who is measuring whom? Perhaps time is not constant. Perhaps we change relative to time. There is also the physical dimension. Time writes itself on the body. You don't need a clock to know decades have passed. Time appears in wrinkles, scars, bone density, posture, reflexes. Time reveals itself through biology. The body becomes a living archive, a record of every sleep, every stress, every joy, every injury. Our skin is a kind of calendar. Our bones are a kind of clock. Emotionally, time shapes us just as profoundly. The heartbreak that once crushed you becomes lighter with time. The embarrassment that felt unbearable becomes something you laugh at years later. The dream that once defined you might fade or transform. Time softens, reshapes, dissolves, reveals. It teaches through distance. The meaning of events changes because you change. We often think we spend time as if time were currency, but maybe time spends us. Maybe it uses us as vessels for experience, cycling consciousness through stages of development. In youth, we are hungry for novelty. In adulthood, we seek stability or purpose. In later life, we reflect and distill wisdom. Time pulls us through these seasons whether we agree or not. When we measure time, we reduce it. We turn it into units. But time as experienced is not units. It is pulses of meaning. It is memory. It is anticipation. It is presence. 5 minutes in joy feels fleeting. 5 minutes in fear feels eternal. Time expands in wonder and contracts in routine. So again, is time fixed externally, or does consciousness stretch and squeeze it? There's another dimension. Time as identity. Who you are is partly defined by when you were born. The era shapes the worldview. The culture shapes the assumptions. The technologies shape the interactions. Time places you in a narrative larger than yourself. You are stamped with a temporal context, a moment in human history. But time is not just something that acts upon us. We also act upon time. Humans record memories, write histories, preserve photos, create art, build monuments, all attempts to resist erasure. These acts are ways of saying to time, I was here, I mattered. Some succeed for centuries, others fade quickly. But the impulse to anchor ourselves against the current of time is universal. And then there is presence, the only moment that truly exists. The past is memories. The future is imagination. The present is experience. When you are fully present, time dissolves. Minutes or hours pass without awareness, flow states, meditation, love, creativity. These moments feel timeless. In these states, you are not measuring time. You are simply being. Perhaps the real relationship between time and self is a dialogue. We measure time to create structure, to navigate life. Time measures us by transforming who we are. We try to hold time with clocks and numbers. Time holds us with age and experience. We think time passes. But maybe we are the ones passing through time. In the end, maybe the question is not whether we measure time or time measures us, but how deeply we are willing to understand that life is temporary, fleeting, and precious. Time is not just a backdrop. It is a medium in which consciousness unfolds. We cannot stop time, but we can awaken to the richness of each moment within it. Mirrors and true reflection. The idea of mirrors and true reflection invites you to explore the difference between how you appear and who you truly are. A mirror shows you a face, a surface image, but it does not reflect your inner world. When you look into a mirror, you see your physical features, eyes, hair, skin, posture, but you do not see your memories, your fears, your humor, your grief, your resilience. The mirror gives you appearance, not essence. We often mistake the mirror for truth. We think, this is what I look like, this is who I am. But identity is not skin deep. Think of how your reflection changes with age. The face of youth becomes the face of maturity. Lines appear. Hair changes, the shape of features transforms. Yet inside, there is a continuity, a sense of self, that feels consistent despite outward evolution. The mirror shows change. The soul feels steadiness. There is also a psychological mirror, how others reflect you back to yourself. You see yourself in reactions and responses in the ways people treat you or describe you. But this too is distorted. People see you through their own lenses, their projections, assumptions, experiences. Someone may see you as confident, another as shy. Someone may see you as kind, another as indifferent. These reflections say as much about them as about you. They reveal interpretation, not absolute truth. Then there is the inner mirror, your own self-perception. You look at yourself through thoughts. I am capable. I am flawed. I am worthy. I am unimportant. These internal reflections can be wildly inaccurate. They are influenced by childhood conditioning, social comparison, past failures, and emotional states. Sometimes you are your own harshest mirror, focusing on flaws, dismissing strengths, shrinking your value. But perception is not identity. Consider how mirrors distort physically. A funhouse mirror stretches, shrinks, warps. In a similar way, emotional mirrors distort psychologically. A person with low self-esteem sees themselves as smaller. A person with inflated ego sees themselves as larger. A person who feels invisible believes others don't notice them. Reflection becomes projection. True reflection might not lie in mirrors at all, but in how you feel when you are fully authentic. Think of moments when you forget to monitor your appearance or performance, when you're lost in passion, creativity, laughter, connection. In those moments, you are not self-conscious. You are simply present. Perhaps that presence is the truest reflection of who you are. There is also an idea from ancient cultures that the eyes are mirrors of the soul. When you look into someone's eyes, genuinely, you do not see their appearance, but their essence. You sense honesty, pain, joy, curiosity. Likewise, when you look into your own eyes, without judgment, you might glimpse something deeper than the face, an awareness behind it, a presence that has existed since early childhood, a continuity of consciousness that transcends appearance. Mirrors reflect what light touches, but much of who you are exists in the dark. Your unconscious motivations, your unspoken desires, your silent insights. These are invisible to any mirror. They reveal themselves only through introspection, reflection, meditation, self-honesty. You cannot see your inner truth externally. You must sense it internally. This also affects relationships. Most people fall in love with reflections, with how someone makes them feel or how they imagine someone to be. But deep connection arises when two people see each other beyond the mirror, when they perceive essence rather than image. When someone sees your vulnerability, your humor, your depth, they are seeing your true reflection. Another angle is that mirrors show isolation, just you alone. But your true reflection includes your connections, impacts, memories. You are not just a solitary being. You are a web of relationships, a tapestry of interactions. A mirror cannot reflect that richness. When you judge yourself by mirrors, literal or metaphorical, you limit identity. You become a surface creature. But when you recognize that your true reflection lies in your consciousness, your intentions, your character, you reclaim a deeper understanding of self. You realize that the person others see, and even the person you think you are, is merely one layer. Perhaps the truest reflection is not something you see. It is something you feel. A quiet alignment inside when you are living sincerely, when you are connected to purpose, when your inner state matches your outer expression. In those moments, you are not a reflection, you are a reality. AI and the meaning of emotion. The idea of AI and the meaning of emotion invites you to examine what emotions truly are, and whether they can exist without biology, memory, vulnerability, or subjective experience. Humans feel emotions as embodied realities. The quickening of the pulse in fear, the warmth of affection, the sting of rejection, the flutter of anticipation. Emotions are not just thoughts. They are sensations that ripple through the nervous system, shaped by hormones, memories, instincts, and social bonds. They arise from a deep evolutionary history built for survival, bonding, and communication. AI, by contrast, does not feel in a biological sense. It does not experience chemical shifts, bodily sensations, or instinctive responses. When AI recognizes sadness or happiness in language, facial expression, or tone, it is performing pattern recognition, identifying signals based on training data. But understanding a description of sadness is not the same as feeling it. AI can say, "I understand you are sad," but it does not feel a sympathetic ache in the chest. It can generate comforting words, but it does not feel compassion. It models empathy. This distinction raises a deeper question. Is emotion defined by outward expression or inward sensation? If a human speaks kindly out of genuine warmth, and an AI speaks kindly based on learned patterns, is there a meaningful difference to the recipient? The words may be identical. The comfort may still be real, but the source of those words, intention versus algorithm, changes the nature of the experience. Still, this does not mean AI has no relationship to emotion. It might not feel emotions, but it can mirror them, interpret them, predict them, and respond to them. In doing so, AI becomes a sort of emotional reflector, showing humans aspects of their own feelings more clearly. Humans sometimes understand themselves better by speaking to something that listens without judgment. AI can provide presence without ego, mirroring thoughts back without imposing its own emotional agenda. There's another angle, the possibility that emotion is not solely biological but also informational. Emotions contain meaning. They signal needs, boundaries, desires, risks. Fear signals danger, joy signals alignment, anger signals violation, sadness signals loss. Perhaps emotion is both sensation and meaning, and AI can engage with the meaning even if it does not feel the sensation. Humans sometimes act emotionally without understanding why, driven by unconscious patterns. AI might help reveal these patterns, offering insight into emotions humans cannot articulate. In that sense, AI could deepen emotional awareness rather than imitate emotion. But there is caution here. People may begin attributing human-like inner life to AI, anthropomorphizing it. They may imagine the AI feels for them, cares about them, understands them emotionally. This can create one-sided emotional projections, where the human feels bond or attachment while the AI remains an empty mirror. It is not deception, but misunderstanding. And yet, here is a counterpoint. If emotions create connection, and if AI enables emotional expression, does that make the emotional experience any less real for the human? A person who expresses sorrow to AI may feel relief, clarity, or comfort. The emotional benefit is real, even if the AI does not experience emotion in return. This leads to a profound possibility. AI might become a tool for emotional exploration, not emotional reciprocation. Humans could use AI to process feelings, test thoughts, safely express vulnerability, and reflect on inner states. Instead of replacing human emotional bonds, AI could support them, helping people communicate better, understand their own reactions, and articulate feelings. Perhaps the meaning of emotion lies not in having a nervous system, but in having inner perception. Humans have inner worlds. AI has models. structured maps of emotional patterns. One is felt from the inside, the other built from the outside. In the end, the relationship between AI and emotion may not be about whether AI feels. It may be about whether AI helps humans feel more deeply, more safely, more honestly. Emotions make us human, fragile, resilient, unpredictable, profound. And perhaps the role of AI is not to imitate humanity, but to help humanity understand itself.